Yes, sir. Okay, we are back, stepping into the ring once again. Here to duke it out. Constant Approach channel on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. JV Wins, Dogon SS. Per usual, I think both of us were in a flowery mood today. Uh, we did
Yeah,
not plan this. It just so happened to work out that way. For
right.
anyone who wants to point out the flowery patterns in the attire for the stream today. Thanks for hitting us up. Appreciate it. We got a lot to talk to tonight. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Let us know how you think about each of these topics. If you happen to be catching wind of what we do over here on Conscious Approach for the first time, whether you're watching the stream or whether you're watching one of the videos, go ahead and let us know what you think about the commentary. Hit the subscribe button if you have not already done so. Like the video. We certainly appreciate the support and engagement as we continue to get this thing rocking and rolling. Now, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. First topic of this evening, we are going to talk about a concept that I saw getting floated around. So, apparently, the New York City Council has proposed declaring December 4th, which is Jay Z's birthday, a national holiday. And Big Daddy Kane, who is a musical inspiration for Jay Z, is fully on board with the idea. So we like to talk about rappers, hip hop music, and each of their influences on society pretty regularly on this channel. So we thought that this was good content for us to kick it on. Let's see here. So we'll go ahead and provide a little context first, as we always like to do. This article says Big Daddy Kane approves of Jay-Z's birthday as a national holiday. The New York City Council recently proposed to make Jay-Z's birthday, December 4th, a holiday for the metropolis known as Jay-Z Day. Moreover, it came through Council member Farrah Lewis in Resolution 849 in early December of last year. Quote, December 4th as Jay-Z Day announces to the world how this Brooklyn son can be all things, including loved by his community, she remarked, according to All Hip Hop. In the spirit of celebrating hip hop's 50th anniversary, establishing an annual celebration to recognize a homegrown hero while proclaiming our municipal support is fitting to designate. Our resolution is an emotional, practical banner raised. Jay-Z has shown the resilience to beat the odds, self-admitted errors, and has developed mechanisms to create opportunities for others. As always, he has done this work wearing Brooklyn and New York City on his heart. Furthermore, TMZ recently asked Big Daddy Kane about this potentially national initiative for Jay-Z on Friday, which was January 5th. I think it's real cool, he remarked to the outlet. You got to understand, hip hop is a culture, a music culture, and now it's a genre that people shun down upon, look down upon. And when you see it can grow billionaires, it can become a multi-genre where there's different forms of hip hop. It can become the highest grossing music genre. And see, if an artist can get a national holiday, I'm all for it. So that's pretty much the gist of it. But Dark Gable that's Big Daddy Kane, doesn't just look to rap legends for inspiration. He also champions the newer guard. Recently, he spoke on Drink Champs about why J. Cole is his favorite MC of the past generation. I love Kendrick, Big Daddy Kane explained, but you got to understand. Cole said, no Cosby shit, but if they sleeping on me, fuck them. So Big Daddy Kane is certainly in support of the idea of making Jay-Z's birthday a national holiday. I'm not going to click on the video clip because it will get flagged because it plays the little TMZ audio thing. You know how this is, man. So for anyone who does not know, machine learning technology for these various social media networks and these technology companies, they do not search for video content. They search for audio. So if you hear that doom, 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 it's an automatic flag by Google. They'll flag your video because it gets flagged as copyright. And so then your video can't get viewed, and I don't got time for all of that. So if you want to watch that clip of Big Daddy Kane's cosign, link to this article is in the description of this video. As always, you can check that out for yourself. But that is the gist of this entire scenario. So New York City Council is trying to propose Jay-Z's birthday as a national holiday. Big Daddy Kane is in support. The question, the big $1 million question, dare I say, is Dogon SS in favor of Jay-Z's birthday being a national holiday?
It depends. It depends on the layout of this holiday. Like, is it only in New York? Is it will people just be, it's a regular day and it's just his day? Because there's other ceremonious days that other people have in other cities, and it's not to the notoriety of a Jay-Z. So for him to have one of those days in one of these cities, and it's like, okay, well that's fine by me, so long as it's stuff like that. Now, national, like everybody has to partake in this somehow, some way, or it's whatever. Um, I'm not in favor of that. I'm just not. Um, I mean, the guy is a musical genius. He's very good at what he does. There was a genre out there that was created. He adapted it and became one of the best. Some would say the best to ever do it. So that is commendable. So, but to have it like super national, like everybody has to do it, it's a bit much. But the people in New York, they can have a ball with this. I wouldn't be mad at it. It's kind of like having a key to the city kind of thing. So why not? So I'm in favor for it, so long as it stays tame and in-house and local. What about you, sir? What are your thoughts on Big Daddy Kane co-signing Jay-Z having a national holiday?
Yeah, these guys tend to stick together. So I'm not surprised that Big Daddy Kane feels that way. Plus, Jay-Z has very publicly, throughout years, talked about how Big Daddy Kane is a direct inspiration on him as an artist, as a rapper. So definitely not surprised that Big Daddy Kane likes it. I pretty much feel the same way that you feel. I don't know how this thing works. I don't, because when I see the word national, what that says to me is national,
Yeah,
the whole United States. That's
yeah,
what the word national means to me. So if something is a national holiday, then that to me suggests it's going to be something that is acknowledged by the entire country, not just New York. Reading through that article, it didn't say nothing about New York holiday. It said national. So
hmm,
I don't know how this stuff works. I don't know if something can be declared national even though it's only acknowledged in a particular region or location. I'm
right.
not sure about that. Obviously, there's more research to be looked into to see how those particulars work.
Hmm.
But I'm pretty much on the same page with you. If it's a New York thing, if it's a Brooklyn thing, it doesn't really bother me. If it's an actual national holiday where it's just recognized by everybody, that makes me a little uncomfortable. I think that should be reserved for people who make impacts across the board with
Right.
respect to humanity. And now
Right.
that's I don't want to. That's not necessarily to take anything away, because Jay Z's done his thing philanthropically.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
supports Artists for Peace and Justice, Boys and Girls Club, GLAD, Global Poverty Project, Keep a Child Alive, NAACP, whatever, United Way, Red Cross. So he's done his thing. He's done his thing philanthropically. He gives back in various aspects. So I'm not going to take that away from him. However, he, at the end of the day, is not Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or any of these individuals.
Right.
He's done what he has done within the purview of what he can and what he's been able to curate for his career. But there's something to me like he's not a civil servant. He's not pounding the pavement. He's enacting. He's contributing to legislation on certain levels. The
Mm,
whole criminal justice thing and all that. But he's not actually a civil servant. And I think nationally recognized holidays ought to be reserved for civil servants. Although, as we see in other aspects of American society, we are starting to dilute the criteria for certain things. So I also wouldn't be shocked if in the future we did start seeing certain people like Jay-Z get their own national holiday, because things are just being diluted with each passing generation, whether it's sports standards, entertainment standards, political standards, music standards. Things are diluting progressively. So because things are diluting progressively, I wouldn't be shocked if he did have his own nationally recognized holiday at some point in the future. But as it currently stands, in my opinion, I think these types of designations should be reserved for civil servants, despite what he has done philanthropically. And there's just a part of putting rappers on that kind of a pedestal that makes me uncomfortable. It reminds me of Dave Chappelle way back in 2004 on his For What It's Worth stand up, when he was talking about celebrity hero worship, which, I mean, the guy was way ahead of his time. If you watch that stand up, that was now almost 20 years ago, because now we're in 2024, and the stuff that he was talking about in that stand up resonates tremendously with a lot of things that are happening currently. And we see the tea leaves for a lot of pushing the envelope a bit too far in the direction of celebrity hero worship. And that's not just with rappers, it's with other celebrities and notable people in entertainment as well. These people aren't civil servants, and they're tremendously flawed. So you start to go down the path of naming national holidays for their birthday and their namesakes. To me, it's kind of I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable with that personally. I'm sure other people would disagree with that. It is what it is. But you know how I feel about this rap, about these rappers and this rap stuff. I just, there's a part of it that gives me tremendous dissonance. But that's just me. Other people are a little more laissez-faire when it comes to according these people that kind of gratification. For me, it's not really up my alley, but I can understand why Big Daddy Kane feels the way he feels. And I'm kind of with you. If this is something that's New York centered, New York centric, if it's a regional type thing, if it's something where it's acknowledged, hey, Jay-Z Day, it's his birthday, but we're not closing post offices and banks, and everybody's still going to work, okay, maybe. But if we're talking about shutting down stuff and heralding this day as a national holiday where people are off of work and all kinds of weird stuff like that, that to me is a slippery slope. But those are my thoughts on that. I kind of think stuff like that should be reserved for civil servants.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said, but I got to thinking, especially towards the latter part. Now, you said December 4th?
December 4th. Yeah.
Hey, man, that's another day in December. for corporate days off. If they say, hey, man, this is part of my culture. I say, hey, this is part of my culture. I'm taking this day off. So, hey, if they make it national, I ain't gonna be mad. I just think it'd be silly. But hell, another day off is another day off. Now, if it's just one of those pseudo ones where it's just like, oh, it's a national holiday, but you still got to go to work, to hell with it. I don't even know why we're celebrating it in the first place. So, yeah, so you can kick rocks if I ain't getting a day off. But as far as like, New York, Brooklyn, or, whatever, Bed-Stuy, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So whatever, man, shut the city down. You know what I'm saying? It just shut the city down. Double pay for those people. I figured that they would love to honor him somehow, some way. Here's the thing I have with all of this stuff. I'm about to take this in another direction. Not that morbid, but just follow the logic. It's kind of the thing of where, the new saying is people say, hey, give these people their flowers now while they're still alive and all that good jazz, which is, a notable thing to do, especially when people put in some type of legwork or whatever. Now, mind you, we are talking about a rapper, so I do hear your point. But the thing is let's say celebrity whatever. We're not going to put him in it, or anybody, but celebrity whatever, celebrity X, and this person here has been rocking whatever field they've been rocking, doing their thing. Yeah, some stuff here, some stuff there in the weeds, but it's all smoke and it's all whatever. But at the end of the day, they end up having a long, whatever career. But that whatever stuff that was around their name or whatever, the person passes on. Then you go and look back at this stuff and it's like, hey man, I was doing a lot of hating. I was doing a lot of hating on this person. They were actually kind of cool. They were actually doing their thing, you know. And then you can look at, who's, and just impose this on Jay-Z or whatever. Now, I still have my thoughts on the guy, but there's so many people that their thoughts aren't that. They saw this man work. They see this man transcend, do all these different things, become a billionaire, all of this other good stuff. And so with that, people will look at his life and go, oh man, X amount of years from now, they would put up a statue of him somewhere in Brooklyn or wherever, somehow. So if they were going to do something like that, just give him his own ceremonial day, if that's how your city rock. So I said all that to say is, sometimes we do got to appreciate people while they are still alive. And they're extending their form of appreciation, although I don't agree with it. With all that said, I still don't think the guy should have a day, because I would say, much like how you said, I would want somebody that would added to something, not Nobel Peace Prize type of thing, but up in that range.
Yeah.
So, and this guy, he did his thing culturally. So if they want to have, what they need to have, and this is the last thing I say. I don't know if they do have it. If they do, I never heard of it. But they just need to have a hip hop Hall of Fame, an official one, much like they have a rock and roll thing. Because I think we have to try to get in there. It's like,
he's already in there. They put him in there already, so he's already in there.
So there's a hip hop.
No. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh shit,
But I'm pretty. Let me double check that. But I'm pretty sure he was inducted into that recently.
Well, that's pretty good. But still, even then, I still think they need one for the culture, and that way, a lot of these people could, get some of the appreciation. That's like, hey man, you did put in a long career. You can stop. And here it is. You got a plaque now. You have a bust somewhere in Atlanta, Georgia. Or not. It'll definitely be in New York. But I think they need to have something like that, just for these guys, because the Big Daddy Kanes and all of these guys that put in a lot of work. The reason why he's co-signing, Jay-Z, because he feels as though, as an athlete, if you will, he put in the work. And where's our honors? So he look at it some type of an honor. So, and like you said, he's all clicked up. Rappers were rappers. They get the struggle. That's the fraternity. So, I get it. But if I don't get a day off, they can shove this right on back.
I just feel I'm a little iffy when it comes to rappers specifically. But in this case, it can go either way for me. I hear everything that you're saying, and this was in 2021. I knew I remember seeing that. So he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2021. Chappelle, speaking of the devil, actually introduced, announced, like he was the one who, brought Jay-Z up on stage when he presented him with the induction. So that was a pretty monumental thing, because there's not too many hip hop people, rapper people who are in that. And like I said, philanthropically, he does give back in various ways. I didn't even mention the thing that he did in Brooklyn with the museum and all of that kind of stuff. So again, it's one of those things where I understand it. But my whole thing with this is, I just, as I've gotten older, I have become a little more conscientious about the notion of making hip hop synonymous with Black people. And I've talked about that on this channel often. I don't need to rail on about that. You know how I feel about that. Anyone who's watched these videos knows how I feel about that. So my whole thing is, let's make sure that we are recognizing everybody and just not rappers and people like this. Because if we want to have Jay-Z, if we want to do a national day and it's Jay-Z's birthday, let's also, and I brought this person up before and I'm going to mention her again, let's also bring up people like Maya Moore. If Jay-Z can get a national day, then why can't Maya Moore get a national day in wherever she's from? Because she made a greater sacrifice than Jay-Z ever made. She quit playing basketball in the prime of her career. She was winning championships and MVPs when she was playing for the Minnesota Lynx. Quit playing basketball to study law so that she can be a part of actually enacting hard legislation that limits lengthy prison sentences for everybody, not just black and brown people, but obviously it inordinately targets black and brown people. But she did that. And that to me is extremely noteworthy. It doesn't get talked about as much because Jay-Z's Jay-Z and Maya Moore is Maya Moore. If you follow the WNBA or sports, of course you know who Maya Moore is, but in the grand scheme of the cosmos, Jay-Z's here with his billions of dollars and his, billionaire wife, and all of this other stuff that he's got going on. And Maya Moore is kind of more in the recesses of the shadows, doing stuff on the ground level floor. And I think that she's doing things that are just as impactful, arguably, in my opinion. She doesn't have millions of dollars to donate to every charity here and there, but she's actually sacrificing a fruitful career to be involved in lawmaking, to be involved actively in legislation. And I think that that's very noteworthy. So if Jay-Z can get his day, people like her should get her day too, because to me, people like her should be more recognized as part of the culture than they already are. Maybe not on par with rappers and hip hop stuff, because we know how music is just ubiquitous and it transcends a lot of things. But it has to at least approximate it in some way, in my opinion. So if Jay-Z can get his day and other people in his position can get their day, and I'm sure he wouldn't be opposed to this. It's not like I'm going at him. I'm just speaking on the climate of this entire situation. Mm-hmm. And if he can get his day, people like her should get her day too, because I think that what she's doing is equally as impactful, albeit less recognized. So,
yeah, or people like Oprah, or who else? Bill Gates, anybody to have a day. Steve Jobs. Who knows? So if they're doing this type of stuff, I don't care so long as I get my day off. If it's just like if this is no different than National Bagel Day, National Hot Dog Day, National Tight End Day. Okay, then fine. Then it can be National Jay-Z Day. Who gives a damn? I'm not going to be, I guess you can play your favorite Jay-Z album. I forgot real quick. Which one is Reasonable Doubt? That's yours?
No, it depends on the day. It depends on the mood that I wake up in, but it's usually between the Blueprint and the Black Album. And it's literally my mood. My mood determines which one of those that day I think is the better of the two. But those two to me are the two best.
Yeah, man. Well, just play your favorite, stream it. Stream your favorite Jay-Z stuff. Add to his revenues. And yeah, man, and celebrate his birthday, on National Jay-Z Day. If it's just like National Bagel Day and National Hash Brown Day, then I don't mind. You can have it, man. You can have it.
Yeah, I hear that. It's all good. Shouts out to the Jigga, man. He is my favorite rapper for what that's worth. I hold him in extremely high regard musically. I am one of those people who thinks that he's the greatest ever, but that is just my opinion, people. Please do not come for my neck. It's just my opinion. If you think someone is better than him, that is fine. I really don't care. Because you know how it is.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, shouts out to the Jigga, man. National Jay-Z Day. We'll see how this thing plays out, but those are certainly our thoughts on this one for now. So
National Dogon Day coming soon.
Yeah, right. Jigga what? Jigga who? And National Conscious Approach Day.
Hey,
Feed
how about
to the
that?
street. Yeah.
It'll be on a Tuesday. I know that for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You.
All right, man. So now we got to get into Lebanon. You and I talked about this last week off camera for a little bit. So I figured, why the hell not? Let's go ahead and pitch this. We haven't talked about Lebanon for a while. So a little sports talk here on the Conscious Approach channel this evening. LeBron and the Lakers are struggling. Ever since they won the in-season tournament, their record has been not very good. They're like 3-8, 4-8 since the in-season tournament, something like that. And apparently, because the Lakers are going in the wrong direction, there are now rumblings that there are issues with the head coach, Darvin Ham. I wanted to talk about this because it gives me another opportunity to kind of add what I think is appropriate perspective to the legend of LeBron James, which I like doing so much. Y'all know how I like doing that. But also because this is consistent. This is consistent with his track record. This is his MO, man, and I don't know how it can be denied at this point. But we'll go ahead and provide context and our thoughts on the situation here real quick. So this says LeBron James blasts Lakers for losing streak. Pressure mounts on head coach Darvin Ham. LeBron James was blunt in his assessment of the Lakers as the team dropped their fourth consecutive game and remained at a dismal 2-8 record in their last 10 games. Now, for accuracy's sake, they beat the Clippers a couple days ago. So I don't know if they're 3-8 or I don't know what other games they played since then, but I know they beat the Clippers. So they're at least 3-8 since this article was originally published, but still not very good. Quote, I mean, we just suck right now, LeBron James told reporters after the 127-113 loss to Memphis. Furthermore, LeBron pushed back at people using the Lakers in-season tournament title as evidence of the team's trajectory. That was just 2 games. It's a small sample. Everyone is getting so cracked up about Vegas and keep bringing up Vegas. It was 2 games. We took care of that business. It was the in-season tournament. We played it. We won it. But that was literally just 2 games. Meanwhile, head coach Darvin Ham does not appear concerned about his job security despite the Lakers' skid. I'm sold. I'm solid. My governor, Jeannie Buss, the boss lady, our president, Robert Palenka, we're all aligned. As long as they're not saying it, I guess I'm good, which I know how they feel about me and the situation we're currently in, Ham said. However, those comments were made before the Grizzlies beat the Lakers. So here is post game after the Lakers lost to the Memphis Grizzlies, and LeBron is being interviewed by the media.
Got to improve the defense, or you just kind of take your hats off to them?
I mean, in the fire, you think improve the defense, but also at the same time, be respectful.
Can you crank it up some? Or that's a lot you get?
Yeah, this is as high as it goes.
Quarter of the offense,
Oh, good.
Stalled a little bit. What do you see out there?
I mean, we got some pretty good looks. They turned us over. I had 2 critical turnovers, missed 4 free throws, but we had our chances.
Memphis ranks near the bottom of the league in 3-point shooting. And you've had a couple of these nights this year where the scout tells you the percentages and there's certain shots that you allow and certain shots you're looking to prevent.
Mm-hmm.
What's the feeling of trying to execute that when a team is kind of beating the odds?
It is what I mean. At the end of the NBA players, they work on their craft too as well. Seems to happen a lot versus us, where the percentages kind of go the other way. And we had our game plan and how we wanted to execute that, and I thought we did that, as well as we could. And he made us pay off.
One of the unique things about this stretch for you guys is it's kind of started with you guys playing really good basketball in Las Vegas, playing at a really high intensity level and stuff like that, and then going through this sort of swoon. What is your belief level about the attainability of returning to what you guys were in Vegas? Do you still feel like that team exists?
I mean, it was just 2 games though. It was a small sample. Everybody's getting so cracked up about Vegas. Keep bringing up Vegas. It was 2 games. We took care of that business. That was the in-season tournament we played. We won it, but that was literally just 2 games.
Were the cracks, were the problems that have presented themselves over the last 13 games, were they shown, do you think, prior to this stretch?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not thinking that far too in the past, to be honest. Maybe we just suck right now.
And so, as one of the leaders who's done this for a while, how do you try to help this team get out of this rut? What does LeBron James do?
What do? I show up to work, punch my clock every day, stay positive, and go out and try to lead out on the floor, inspire on the floor. You know, that's what I do.
Last question.
LeBron. Yes, a question not related to the game, if you allow me. Ricky Rubio announced his retirement from the NBA yesterday. What do you think about the career that he has?
All right, so that's good enough. That pretty much got the point across there. Yeah, he was just talking real low. I guess he was trying to be somber Lebanon there. Trying to show how much he's feeling about the fact that they're not good. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the story of that one right there. The article continues. Speculation about Ham's future with the Lakers reached fever pitch earlier this week. Per Shams Charania, there is a, quote, growing disconnect between the Lakers roster and Coach Darvin Ham over the latter's lineup choices.
No.
There's currently a deepening disconnect between Darvin Ham and the Lakers locker room, 6 sources with direct knowledge of the situation say, raising questions about the head coach's standing. The people spoke with The Athletic on condition of anonymity, shocker, so that they could speak freely on the matter. Those sources have described that the disjointedness between the coach and his team has stemmed from the extreme rotation and starting lineup adjustments recently from Ham, leading to a fluctuating rhythm for several players across the roster. Sharania and Javon Bua, I don't know how you say that. Bua wrote for The Athletic. So this report came after the Heat, without Jimmy Butler, beat a starting lineup of Anthony Davis, LeBron, Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince, and Austin Reeves. Ham used the same starters against Memphis. However, like he did before the Memphis game, Ham deflected any criticism after falling to Miami. It's a little bit of everything right now. We're not executing. That team played harder than us tonight, executed better than us tonight, more physical than us tonight. We got outworked tonight. So it's a bit of everything right now, Ham said. So there you go. Apparently now there are issues with the lineup, the roster, and that is being levied anonymously by people close to the situation at the feet of the head coach, Darvin Ham. I'll go ahead and start with this one.
Yeah, bro, I was about to say, bro, go ahead.
So, we talked about LeBron a lot over the years. LeBron is the person who made me create what I call the superstar double standard. At the time, the superstar double standard applied to 2 people and 2 people only, LeBron and Tom Brady. Tom Brady could throw 4 picks, and they would say all the picks were not Tom Brady's fault. And of course, if Tom Brady threw 4 touchdowns and they won the game, throwing the ball up in the triple coverage to Randy Moss makes impossible catches in the end zone. Tom Brady got more of the credit for that than Randy Moss. And at the time, I was like, Tom Brady's getting the benefit of the double standard, all the credit, none of the blame when things go bad. LeBron was the same way. LeBron's teams get to the playoffs and get swept by the Spurs or lose way earlier than they should have against the Orlando Magic or Boston Celtics back when he played with Cleveland the first time. And it was, he doesn't have enough help, or the coach isn't good enough, the roster isn't strong enough, the owner isn't smart enough. It was always that. Whereas if you put another player in that exact same circumstance, we would simply say the player didn't get it done. The player just didn't get it done. You can look all across the board, whether you're talking about people like Allen Iverson, any of the people who lost to Jordan during Jordan's heyday, Tracy McGrady, any of these people who fall short in the playoffs despite what their talent would suggest, we simply said they didn't get it done. We didn't look at all of these extenuating circumstances. But for whatever reason, when it came to LeBron, whenever his teams would lose, it was always coach isn't good enough, teammates aren't good enough, nobody came to help him, and the owner and the organization sucks. So I found that to be a superstar double standard. Over time, I came to stop putting Tom Brady in that category, because to me, I felt like post the Randy Moss years, when Tom Brady started putting up all of the touchdowns and yards and getting all of the MVPs and continuing to win Super Bowls, once Tom Brady got to like 4 or 5 Super Bowls, I was like, okay, I can't keep saying that this guy benefits from a double standard. He's earned that. Whereas LeBron continued to be on the Heat in 2011 and lose to the Mavericks in the finals, getting guarded by JJ Barea and the Jet, Jason Terry on the perimeter. And then in 2014, when the Heat lost to the Spurs via the greatest margin of victory in the history of the NBA Finals, and we were told that it was once again a bad roster, even though there was nothing wrong with that roster 2 weeks prior when they were running through the Eastern Conference to get to the finals. So I felt like LeBron continued to benefit from this double standard, and it continues to rear its ugly head. This to me is par for the course. It is consistent with his career, and he is aided by what I see is a very pro-LeBron mainstream media, who is going to always lament on the organization or the coach or the roster whenever things aren't going as planned, when LeBron, as far as I can tell, watching the games, is at the center of why things aren't going as planned. But this is what you get. You use the word orbit to describe the effect that he has on an organization. When the organization brings him in, you have to transfix the entire operation around the orbit that is LeBron. And as a result, when things don't go as planned, everyone else is labeled as incompetent because he himself cannot be a part of the problem. Now, he is a great player. So just because he is a part of the problem does not also mean that he cannot be a part of the solution. Of course, he can be a part of the solution. But the pro-LeBron media likes to have it both ways. In victory, he gets all of the credit. And when things are not going well, the coach suddenly sucks. The team suddenly sucks. The owner and the organization and management suddenly sucks. When he played for the Heat, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we were questioning whether Eric Spoelstra was a good coach, which made zero sense to me, because you're only questioning that because he plays on the roster. As we have clearly seen since he has left the organization, no one is questioning whether Eric Spoelstra can coach. He is largely considered to be one of, if not the best coach in the league. The Heat have gone to the finals twice since LeBron left. Now, LeBron did win a championship since leaving. It was a weirdo bubble finals that I look at with an asterisk, but be that as it may, if you want to consider that a finals victory, you go right on ahead and you can do that. Nevertheless, no one is questioning whether Eric Spoelstra can coach or not. But while LeBron was on the Heat and the Heat was losing to Dallas and getting blown out by the Spurs in the finals, people were wondering whether Eric Spoelstra can coach. There were rumblings and tea leaves as to whether Eric Spoelstra is fit for the job, which is ridiculous. He goes to Cleveland. All of a sudden, Mike Brown can't coach. Now, I will say that owner, what's that guy's name? I can't remember the owner of Cleveland's name off the top of my head. I'll look it up when I let you go. But I feel like he's one of these kind of penny pinching, bad organization guys. So maybe I can admit that the owner was a bad owner. But Mike Brown's not a bad coach. Look at how well the Kings are playing right now. And that roster was not that bad that LeBron played on when he first played for Cleveland and got Mike Brown fired. But because the team is losing and they're underachieving because they exit in the playoffs early, largely because of LeBron's approach to the game, we're looking at the coach and the roster. So Mike Brown gets fired. Ty Lue gets fired. The guy that they had coaching the Lakers before Darvin Ham, who's now coaching the Suns, Frank Vogel. They won a championship with him. He was good enough to be the coach of the Lakers when they won it. All of a sudden, the following year, the team is a year older. Anthony Davis is always banged up. And the roster is horribly constructed, as it was the year that they won. They just benefited from like 4 months off and being able to play in a confined environment in Orlando without home court advantage. When you remove those variables, anybody has a shot to win. So Frank Vogel was good enough to coach the Lakers then. But in the following year, when he even out a little bit more, all of a sudden he sucks as a coach and you got to fire him. Now we're hearing this about Darvin Ham. Now all of a sudden Darvin Ham's a bad coach too? So this is more LeBron superstar double standard BS.
Hmm.
It's one of the reasons why I get tired of this guy, and frankly will not miss him when he retires. I appreciate everything that he has done for the game, but this is ridiculous. Overnight now, this guy is there are rumblings by people close to the situation that Darvin Ham's not a good coach. This is absurd, but it is consistent. And if anything, I will always credit people for their consistency. When you show me who you are, I'll believe you. And LeBron showed me who he was a very long time ago as a player, and I believed him ever since. I'm just waiting for everybody else to come on board.
Yeah, man. Hey, bruh. It's sad that, you know, I wish I could say I disagree with any of it. But, you know, hey, man, you know, this is what, you know, LeBron does, you know, at this point. Now, for all of the people out there that now I like to just I don't like to call myself a hater. You know, I just like to call myself
Truth teller. There's a difference between difference between hating and telling the truth.
I'm just objective about the whole situation. You know, objectively speaking, you know. So looking at LeBron, you know, for those of you that like, hey man, come on, man, cut the guy some slack, you know, he's greatest all time, all this stuff. It's like, all right, cool. But if there was some type of, you know, PFF grade on like career surroundings of the career, you know, you look at the amount of free agency that these people got. I know somebody can crunch these numbers. That how many people through free agency have flown in and out of LeBron rosters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he probably that would he lead all time in minutes, lead all time in points, or you know, he doing all of this stuff. And he also leads all time in getting people fired. What does that say about this guy? You know, what is that? Why and like you say, why all of a sudden do these people suck? It doesn't make sense. Now, the whole Darvin Ham thing, I can't really speak on that because I didn't understand the hire in the first place outside of him being, you know, the player's favorite and that the players were going to run the team, mainly LeBron.
Yes.
And so, but when you have, and this is where the ownership comes into play, and LeBron, because, you know, he's the GM too. And the construction of this roster is very confusing. It doesn't make sense. I play daily fantasy. I look at their roster all the time. I'm trying to pick some people up. So I'm looking at these clowns. And they're not all clowns. They're just clowns on this roster. It just don't work. And so they've been leaning on AD this entire time. And I had asked you, I was like, you know, why? You know, I was like, you know, because LeBron won the MVP for the in-season tournament. But if anybody was watching those two games, it was all AD. Nobody could stop him. So was LeBron effective? Was he impacting the game? Yeah, but he didn't impact it like AD did. So why did LeBron win the in-season MVP? And now all of a sudden, for all those people out there, it's like, yeah, you know, LeBron, he's MVP. He just said it was just 2 games, bro. It was just 2 games. And yeah, and that's probably the downside. You know, I would like to see how this in-season tournament stuff go in the long run. Look for these teams that win and pop champagne mid-season, not even mid-season, quarter of the season, popping champagne in the locker room. What's going on? Those guys already busted their nut. They don't need to go outside no more. So they're not going to want to win the championship. They already won one. So I like to see the long study on this to see what happens to these teams, because right now I think the whole team, you know, it's a mess. They powered through the little tournament thing, but who cares? But ultimately, they're in trouble. There's a lot of teams that's built well, and they're playing together as a team. I don't see any of that stuff going on with the Lakers. And so I guess from that look and his demeanor and all that stuff when he was talking, he sees the writing on the wall. This team really sucks. It's Anthony Davis and you. Everybody else comes off the bench for other people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think it's fair to AD. All of this stuff. They put a lot on that guy's shoulders. And I hear, and last thing I'll say, I hear people fussing out AD. You need to step up. Yeah, he'd be getting hurt. But when the boy be playing, he be playing. And so, he need to step up. Look at his thing. Look at his numbers. They don't chew out LeBron like that. But they always chewing out AD. I don't know why he gets such a bad rap. But yeah, the guy's amazing. But hey, sucks for the Lakers. Lakers fans, the Laker faithful. You guys signed up for this Lashide show. They belong together. Lakers and LeBron, stay there, bro. It's just the sideshow. And so, yeah, all of this comes with it. And that's why when he left the Heat, I was like, good riddance. Yeah. Good riddance. Didn't want that in the first place, to be honest.
Yes.
But yeah, I've said my spill, man. But hey, Darvin Ham, sacrificial lamb. How about that? Crazy.
As
stuff.
Always, that's what always happens. Dan Gilbert, that's the owner of the Cavaliers. That's his name, Dan Gilbert. So that's what frustrates me so much is just he always gets to escape basketball. He gets to escape negative basketball situations pretty much completely unscathed. And like the media pretty much acknowledges the direct influence that he has on roster construction. Yet when it is clear that the roster is deficient, there's no accountability that is levied his way for said roster deficiencies. And I don't understand that. So let me get this straight, because if it's any general manager, because general managers are responsible largely for roster construction.
Correct.
If the roster sucks, people will be like, bro, you're not doing your job very well. Yet we all know LeBron plays an influential hand in roster constructions on the teams that he's on. And when the roster isn't good, no one's saying, yo, LeBron, you suck at this roster thing. No, at least no one in the media is doing that. That's why I've never bought into the idea that LeBron is polarizing. I've never believed that. I've never bought into the idea that he's polarizing. I've never bought into the idea that he has all these haters. Where? Are you talking about fans on the internet and social media? Their opinion doesn't count in the grand scheme of things. The people who frame the legacy of these athletes are the legacy framers, that's what I like to call them, in the mainstream media. Your Stephen A. Smiths, Shannon Sharps, Skip Baylesses, people like this, Chris Broussard, Nick Wright. These are the people who years and years and years, when they lend their voices to these various subject matters, that's what helps to frame the legacy of these players over time. People like Mike Greenberg, the people like that. People like that. Theirs are the opinions that matter. And none of these people ever have a negative word to say about LeBron. Ironically, Stephen A. Smith is probably the only one who might get critical of LeBron, and that's hardly ever when it comes to basketball, and it's always with other stuff, off the court stuff. That's the only time that you'll hear Stephen A. get critical of LeBron. Other than that, the guy is pretty much universally regarded as untouchable. That's why I say he gets the benefit of the greatest superstar double standard I've ever seen. You can acknowledge that he plays a hand in roster construction, but when the roster is trash, no one says, LeBron, you did a shitty job. Can I at least get that? We can't even get that. If the roster is great, they'll talk about how LeBron did such a great job helping to create the roster. But if the roster's shitty, they're going to blame Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss and the organization.
Yep.
That's what they're going to do, because that's what they always do. In Cleveland, it was LeBron did such a good job. He went and got Kevin Love and got rid of Andrew Wiggins, and him and Kyrie and Kevin Love put that thing together. Mainly him. But once it went south, it was Dan Gilbert is trash as an owner and Ty Lue sucks as a coach. So I am just tired of it. Here we go again. Same thing with the Lakers. If they continue to lose, or if they lose embarrassingly in the playoffs this year, because they'll get in, probably as a lower seed, but they'll get in. They'll just fire Darvin Ham. And they'll blame it all on Darvin Ham. Next thing you know, Bronny James is going to be on the Lakers after playing one season at USC.
Come on, bro.
You can't count that out. Can you rule that out?
No, you can't. I mean,
Yes.
if Thanasis Antetokounmpo is still playing for the Bucks,
Collecting
then
a
Bronny
check,
could play for the
right.
Lakers.
Exactly. That's
So-
correct. So yeah, this is just, I'm just sick of this stuff, man. I'm gonna watch this stuff regardless. I'm gonna be a fan of regardless. I like the league before LeBron got here. I'll like it when he's done. But the egregious double standard that he gets to benefit from is beyond the pale to me. And I'm tired of it. But what it is what it is. I'm also used to it.
Yeah, hey man. Yeah, to me it's all part of the show. It just it's just wild when I like it's certain characters in a movie where they come up and they be like, "Hey man, here's a picture of my daughter." Oh, okay, yeah. Me and my wife just got engaged. Oh, hey, that's great. Blah 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 blah. I just got a raise. I'm like, this guy's gonna get killed. And he's not gonna make it for the first 5 minutes. Sure enough, something pop out and snatch his ass up and he's dead. And I was like, man, I knew it. So as soon as Darvin Ham got the position, he was that guy to me. And so right now he's getting his ass snatched up, bro. It hasn't even been 2 seasons really like that. So he's getting snatched up, and it's like, yeah, well, this is what happens when you sign up for a LeBron movie. All right, nobody's safe. He's the main character. He gets the girl. He lives at the end. Everybody else is who knows. Rightfully so, and this is my last point on AD. Rightfully so that people be critical of his injuries. Some of the stuff is like, what's that? All right. But at the same time, like I say, when he has to play and he has to get in there, he has hit a gear in my book to where nobody can really stop him if he wants to go do what he has to go do. And even if he's playing against Joker, Joker gonna get his, but AD still gonna have 30 and 20 his damn self.
Yeah.
So at that point, appreciate his greatness. And I feel like this whole time, while he's over at the Lakers doing this stuff, while healthy, whenever he's healthy, but whenever he's there, he's doing that. And I feel like he gets no respect at all from anybody. It's always what LeBron does and what LeBron brings. So it would be interesting. I still enjoy the sideshow. I'll be honest. But post retirement, it would be very interesting to see how we see the league, once this is done with, and we can see basketball again, maybe. Because I'm telling you right now, I have been watching more games this season, and I am understanding what these young people are doing. It's still not my cup of tea. But when you're sitting there and you're watching their skills, Tyrese Halliburton, for example, and you just seeing what he does, and it's like, all right, he got 20 assists. Good job. Oh, he went and did it again. Oh, then the next game he got 17. And so it's like, hey, this guy's balling.
Yeah.
So there's guys that's hooping. It'd be nice to see the guys that are hooping that are less dramatic, and no La media behind these people. I think it'd be real interesting to just see sports again. So
yeah, I agree with that. I think they're gonna be fine. LeBron retires, it's gonna be fine. Because there's a lot of guys who can play and they'll just keep it going. It is what it is. And pretty soon the next transcendent person will come along. Maybe it's Wembenyama, who knows? It's
SGA.
his first year. It's his first year, so let's see how his game develops. You know, you got people like SGA out there killing it. So it is what it is. I'm just ready for the sideshow to be over. I hear you on your movie analogy too, because like LeBron reminds me. So I read an interesting article about Fast and Furious, and they were talking about Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham, because you know them two made that movie Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw. So apparently both of them, because you know how they like to make movies where they're always kicking ass. And apparently both of them have stipulations in their contracts whenever they do a movie that they can't lose any fights in any movie that they're in. And furthermore, they can only be hit a certain amount of times in the movie. And like, this isn't a safety thing. This is literally in the movie. If you're writing a movie and they're playing a character in the movie and their character is involved in a fight scene, their character cannot lose any fight and their character can't be hit in the fight. That's what LeBron reminds me of. His media treatment. He always comes out of it unscathed. He can't be blamed and he can't really be hit in any kind of way. It's like it's in his contracts. It's weird, but that's kind of what it reminds me of.
No, totally. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, there's people out there that have done through rabbit holes and try to figure out, his connections with the media and stuff. But it's out of pocket how hard Shannon goes, how hard Nick Wright goes. It's like, hey man, I get it, but at the same time, bro, like this is too extreme. You can't. Be fair, or be balanced, with your analysis. But there's never any balance. There's always some new quirky statistic to prove why whatever LeBron's doing is the best thing ever because nobody else done it but this. And it's like, okay, bro, but I'm the first person to flick a quarter while standing on this bridge, and I did, I'm the first person in the world to do that. They just built that bridge. I'm the first guy to do it. So it's just like, what did you really say? But like I said, man, this sideshow, although it gets on my nerves, it's still entertaining to me. And so I would like to see how this plays out, see how it happens with Mr. Ham. Sorry, bro, but hey, Ty Lue, everybody bounces back from this stuff, and for whatever
because
reason,
they actually don't. Yeah, they bounce back because they don't actually suck.
Well, there you go. Yeah, so Darvin Ham, bro, don't even sweat it, bro. This guy goes through coaches, Well, I also say if you're trying to get Spo fired, boy, get out of here.
That's what I'm saying, man. But it is what it is with LeBron, man. Shouts out to Mike Brown, killing it with the Kings.
And shout out to Spo.
And shouts out to Spo on the Heat too. Get out of here, real coaches. Oh boy. All right, so now we got friend of the channel, Glorilla.
Right.
We've talked about Glorilla enough that she qualifies as friend of the channel. And Glorilla apparently has upset a lot of her hardcore fans because she has made the announcement that she is going to start making simp music.
Whoa.
Yeah, right. So let's take a look at what exactly she's talking about here. So this says Glorilla says she's being a simp in her new music. Glorilla, a hip-hop artist, just hinted that she's changing her music style to something softer. This surprised fans who were used to her intense and bold sound. The FNF rapper has been exploring new sounds in general as of lately, and it's been experimental to watch. The change was revealed through a tweet where a fan shared they loved listening to Glorilla's music, especially because it seemed to express dislike towards men. Glorilla responded with laughing emojis, saying she's going for a softer vibe in her new songs. Listening to Glorilla nonstop in the car, she hate N-words as much as I do.
Yes.
And Glorilla responded with laughing emojis and said, "I'm being a simp on my new shit, y'all."
Yes.
This unexpected shift got a mixed reaction from fans. Some were excited about the change, while others prefer her old, intense style. It shows how artists can face challenges when trying something new. Not everyone may like it. Fans responded to the interaction with mixed reactions. Keep that shit. We don't want to hear it respectfully, someone said.
Oh,
I
shit.
love her. I just wish she talked less. That's how they be messing themselves up. Just shut up and make music, sis. Another said. Someone else playfully wrote, "Oh no, thank you, sis. I want to continue to hate them."
Damn.
Yeah, the conversation on social media also touched on how artists connect with their fans online. Some fans welcome the change, while others advise Glorilla to focus more on making music and less on talking. This divergence in opinions highlights the challenge artists face when navigating shifts in their musical style, as fans may either embrace change or long for the familiarity of the artist's established sound. So you can go through here and check out some of this stuff here. There's the tweet that she sent out. I'm being a simp on my new shit, y'all. So a lot of people don't like the implication of that tweet. They feel as though it's an indication that she is no longer going to make music in which she is hating on dudes. And apparently a lot of people, a lot of her fans like to hear how much she hates on dudes, hates men, hates N-words, all that good stuff. What are your thoughts on this one? Do you co-sign Glorilla transitioning to being on some simp shit? What about her fans who are mad that she's going to be on simp shit because they want to hear her continue to hate men?
Well, I co-sign this. She's gonna make music. So if she decides to make music, I would rather her soften it up. You know, I still don't know what simping mean, but I guess she means simping, relatively speaking, to her other stuff. So I'm in favor of that. Now she's gonna lose. This is a bold move for her if she decides to just go this lane. But I think there's more fans on the other side. So the area that she was operating in is extremely niche. All right. I didn't know this was hate music. I didn't know she was making hate music. Like somebody call that ADL, get them involved. Because I feel targeted. I didn't know that this was actually hate songs. So for her to transition over from making hate songs, because not everybody feels like that. But more people, even if they have a mean spirit, they still like to hear music that's more encouraging. So that tends to have a broader scope, more fans over there. It's just that, do people want to hear Glorilla do that? So that's the bold part about all of this. But if she decides to soften it up, I'm in favor of that. If there was, my door was wide open and, there's 3 gallons of sewage pumping in every minute. All right. If Glorilla decides to, hey, I'm only going to do 1 gallon per minute now. I'm like, thanks, Glorilla. That's 2 gallons less. There's still shit in my house, but it's less shit. So I'm in favor of her doing this. Hopefully it catches on for her and she doesn't have to resort back to the streets. So what are your thoughts of Glorilla simping it up in her newer songs?
Yeah, I think it's the woman version of hate. So I don't think it means hate like defamation hate. I think hate. I think when they talk about hating, men hating N-words, because Glorilla's music is, because the songs that I've heard of hers is like, I'll smash one dude today and I'll be gone tomorrow, or I'll smash you but I don't care about you. I have no feelings for you. You're nothing to me but, some dick. Or, I'll get you tied up and robbed. So
Oh,
I think that's the version of hate for women in
yeah,
rap.
that's defamation. I need the ADL.
But so that's okay. So if we classify that as hate, then it is indeed hate. Because that's her shtick. That's what she talks about whenever she's talking about, these dudes and stuff like that. Do you think, question for you, the people who want to continue to hear that from her, do you think that they were like, do you think they've had negative experiences in life when it comes to men, and so because of those negative experiences, their heart, so to speak, is turned cold, and therefore they like music like Glorilla's because it resonates with them? Or do you think that they've been socialized to look at men that way, regardless of whether they have had those experiences, and so as a result they like her music, even though in actuality they really don't have a reason to hate men like that?
I think it's binary option one.
Okay.
But I think both are at play.
Okay.
And I think that there's enough material to get hooked on it, but at the same time, there is in our community, man, it's just not a lot of homes going on. And if there's not a lot of homes going on, then there's a lot of children out there that aren't seeing structure and real man or real woman. So they grow up with a lot of trauma that never gets fixed. And then they're in this space where they are constantly on defense mode. And so every guy, and then the guy, and it's typical dude to play into whatever stereotype. He'll do that. You grab a dude off the street, he'll do it.
Yeah.
And then so if he'll feed right into that, and then here goes the wheel. So I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, that's it. I pondered that when I first read this, and because I was thinking about it. Well, which is it? I agree. I do think that both are at play. For her, just to kind of speak on her real quick, I'm all for it as well. If she wants to diversify her sound and move on to doing things different musically, of course I'm in favor of that, because I'm in favor of people with range. Like, to me, that's a sign of talent. To me, a sign of true talent is range. So when you're an actor and you can play different roles, if you're an artist and you can rap about different stuff, that is range. And to me, that is a sign of talent. So that's why I've always said, like, I don't sit here and look strictly at bars when I'm thinking about who's a great rapper. To me, you can not really be all that lyrical, but if you got range and can effectively touch on different things, whether it's ratchet, street stuff, enlightened stuff, relationship stuff, and I believe you because you're good at it and you can deliver it effectively, to me, that's talent. So I'm in favor of that. If she can pull that off, more power to her. But she, to me, is less important with this, and it's more about her fans. These people, mostly who I think are women, who feel like they need to hear this to feed their soul because they hate, to quote them, she hates niggas as much as I do.
That's crazy.
That to me is the alarming part about this, because I'm sitting here wondering who hurt you. And that's why I asked you the question. And I think that on a certain level, both are in play here. But I just want to say, I believe in paradigm shifts. I've talked about paradigm shifts before. I read the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It taught me that I am not beholden to my trauma. As strong as the psychosis that comes along with trauma can be, no one is beholden to it. You can rise above that. And I'm here to tell some of y'all ladies, you don't really have to hate us. You don't. Like, you don't have to hate us. There's a lot of dudes out here who don't mean you any harm. Now, what you want to do is you really only want to mess with dudes who don't lie. Now, I will say that, and it's hard to detect the type of guy who will lie to you, because you got a lot of guys out here, unfortunately, who present themselves well, but will lie their ass off. And they are a major part of the problem. But there's a lot of guys out here who will be honest with you. They may not want to date you seriously or be in a relationship with you, but at the very least, they are not going to lead you astray. They won't lie to you. They will be honest. And there's a lot of guys out there who ain't gonna hurt you. I think there's a lot of women in the world who need to shift their paradigm and learn how to deal with the type of guy who isn't going to traumatize them and lead them to want to listen to Glorilla music where they're hating men. Like, this to me is an indication of how we choose the type of people that we deal with. Like, and I'm optimistically on your side when you say that the majority of the people are on the side who want to be exposed to the softer stuff. I hope you're right. But you also can't deny that there's a lot of people who want to hear that aggressive, hateful shit.
Oh yeah.
Because they want to be stuck in the doldrums of hating dudes because of whatever experiences that they've been through that have kind of taught them that you need to hate these guys. And all I can say is, hey, look, that to me is an indication of the way that you go about choosing the kind of men that you deal with. And it's an indication of the way that you vet the type of men that you keep around you, which can be due to the environment that you come up in. So I'm not necessarily going to fault you 100%, but at the end of the day, we all have the power to undergo a paradigm shift. You can rise above that. You don't have to hate all of us. You don't gotta hate us. You don't, man. You don't. There's a lot of guys out here who ain't gonna lie to you, who ain't gonna scam you, cheat you, or anything like that. Deal with those guys so that you don't feel this intrinsic connection to Glorilla music, the aggressive stuff at least, not her new Simp stuff allegedly. But like, this is where we are with this stuff, where it's like we're dealing with people who just can't take accountability for their own decisions. Who are the kind of guys that you're dealing with? Who are these dudes that hurt you to the point where you feel like you hate men? Like, just switch it up. We ain't all out there trying to make you hate us. We're not. But if you want to be around that, you get what you deserve. And then I guess at that point, you seek out the refuge of Glorilla music, or any other aggressive form of female rap that you seek out in order to validate some of these traumas that you have been unable to reconcile. But you don't gotta hate us, man. That's pretty much all I gotta say. You don't need to hate all of us. Now, dude who wants to lie to you, hate that guy. But then again, I would question, why do you find yourself inextricably drawn to the type of guys who are going to treat you in such a way that'll have you hating men? Not all guys are like that. They're not. But the ones you want are. So I think that that's the thing that you need to figure out.
Yeah, but and I hear you, and I think that a lot of this has to deal with, as you mentioned, a certain type of paradigm. Now, I know that there's some women out there that they have playlists, and if a Glorilla song snuck in there, okay, fine, but they ain't checking for her like that. They ain't on her page to be replying to her and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm talking
I know.
about those, the ones that
Yeah.
are like, I hate them as much as she does.
Yeah. But so that's like, I would say that there's the people that don't listen to her, the fringers, and then her niche core fans. Now, she was able to grow because there was a need for that. So, but at the same time, it's a growing need too, by the way. So, so that population is growing. We talk about it every week. This is just a component of it. So this population is growing. It is becoming concerning because this pool of women are going to be mothers of the next generation of stuff. And so, as I mentioned, I really think that the lack of seeing good examples is what opens the door for this. And what's going on is from generation to generation, we're starting to see less examples of this. So, the stuff that we saw grandma and grandpa and all other stuff, like, man, these are much different times. And so people didn't see certain things, man. And you can't do what you don't know. And so a lot of these people are in this bubble. Put it this way. The only people, I won't say the only, most of the people that are Glorilla fans, they're, in order to listen to this and understand it, you have to be living in an environment that basically has those headphones.
Yeah.
And if you don't live in that environment, you don't have access to that room, you never went in there. Or if you heard some noise from that, but you don't go in that room. Some people live in there. And so if that's where they're at, of course, she's speaking to me. Finally, somebody understand these clowns for what they really are. Last thing I'll say is that these women that saying that they don't like these niggas, these whatever. There's those guys, the ones that, because I'm pretty sure most of her fans are young. So the boys that look like NBA Youngboy and Little Baby, right? So those guys, niggas. In that same age group, there's a well-to-do young man somewhere, and he's doing well-to-do things. He's dressed well-to-do. He speaks well-to-do. You don't call him a nigga. He's not even in the dating pool.
That's my point about paradigm shift. Yeah,
exactly. So the people in the dating pool are in that box.
Right.
So when she's calling out this stuff, this is a room of trauma that the guys have headphones to for their favorite trap rappers.
Right.
So yeah, the paradigm shift needs to occur. But when we're outside of the room. Hey.
Right.
Take those headphones off. Hey. They're like, what? Niggas ain't here. So, I hope the message gets through. But for the fringers who are in and out of that room, hey, you got perspective. And no, there's a better world outside of that room. So Glorilla, if she wants to make music over there, call it simping to be tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, girl, get out of that room. She's probably having a paradigm shift herself, getting into money, traveling, and doing all this other stuff. And who knows what she's going through in her life to go, you know what? There's more in this world than this box.
Absolutely. That's correct. That's 100% correct. Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I stand behind it. Now, will people out here get on Glorilla? Will those people outside of the box come along? Who knows? So, good luck for Miss Glorilla simping it up.
It's an interesting take on the use of that word, but maybe that's the female version of simp. Who knows? Because that's a word that pretty much solely gets attributed to men. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. You can't. It's hard to stay in that mindset when you start entering new tax brackets and you're no longer in those environments. How can you? Like, you can't be a well-balanced human and stay in that place mentally when you traveling here and going there and around these circles here and talking to these lawyers and talking to your realtor and dealing with your tax. Like, you can't be in that same. It's hard. I find it very difficult to believe that someone even in her position can stay in that mindset when that's how your life starts to evolve. So definitely hear that. I just think it's sad for the ones in the room, as you say, ones with the headphones on. But the thing about it is so many of them, and it's like they look at the world as niggas ain't shit. And it's like, no, that isn't necessarily true. It's just because of your trauma, the ones who you look at fit that, but it's not everybody. But that's how we do it. Like, we look at the world based upon our own sets of experiences and preconceived notions without taking into account that there's a wider world out there. And it's sad. It's unfortunate. I don't want to use the word sad. I'm not sitting here trying to lament, but it's like, hey man, you don't gotta hate all of us. Trust me. All y'all Glorilla fans out there, every dude ain't like that. It's just the ones you like. It's just the ones you like. It's just the ones you like. Those are the ones who are like that. Trust me. Trust me.
Yeah. Hey, one last thing, Glorilla fans. Let's work on taking those lashes off. Let's work on that. Hey, like and subscribe, man. I'm just joking. Come on.
Oh man, let's see if any Glorilla people hit us up in the comments.
Oh man.
Oh, Killer Cam wants to set the record straight that he is not buying into the idea of African Americans.
No.
He never has. He looks at himself as Black American, not as African American. Interesting comments. So his show, shouts out to Cam and Mace, by the way. It is what it is. Their show is kind of a mashup of sports and hip hop culture. And it got picked up by a major media outlet that eludes me at the moment. And they're currently on the start of their third season. So shouts out to Cam and Mace. Glad for them, man. It's an entertaining show. Anybody who has not looked at it, check it out. It's definitely worth it. So Cam made some interesting comments about the delineation between African American and not, or Black American, so to speak. So we figured we'd broach this on the channel. So this says Cameron identifies as Black, not African American. Africans don't even fuck with us. Cameron has turned a portion of the season 3 premiere of his sports talk show, It Is What It Is, into a monologue on his views on racial classification. About halfway through the show's most recent episode, Cameron began talking to co-host Mace about race and sports fandom. That led Killer Cam into an extended speech about why he thought of himself as Black American as opposed to an African American. I'd rather fill in Black than African American on ID forums because Africans don't even fuck with us, he began. When you go over there to Africa, they call us Yankees. They fuck with us, but we're not from the motherland. We're from America. So I'd rather say I'm a Black American. Cam then used the Olympics as an example to further his point. When we go to the Olympics as a country and somebody Black is fighting from the United States, you don't say African American, you say American. You don't even put a color on it. It's an American fighter. You're known in the Olympics as an American. It doesn't matter what color you are. He continued, the point is they don't categorize it when it's world competition, but when it's other shit, it needs to be categorized. So I consider myself a Black American. I don't consider myself an African American. The rapper / talk show host wound down by shouting out all my N-words in Africa. Much love, he added. Much love, he added, but y'all don't consider us real Africans. Y'all don't. So we'll go ahead and play a couple of clips here with Cam talking about this real quick.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
All right, so I'm gonna have to refresh the page because how Instagram starts right when you get on it.
Yeah.
But here we go.
Cool.
I'd rather feel in Black than African American because Africans don't even fuck with us.
Wow.
Because they don't.
And Americans do?
Well, you're American, Mace. You're born in America. When you go to the Olympics, and when I say African American, you go over there, they call us Yankees and all that. They fuck with us, but we're not from the motherland. We're from America. So I'd rather say I'm a Black American. When we go to the Olympics as a country, and somebody Black is fighting from the United States, you don't say African American. You say American. You don't even put a color on it. It's an American fighter fighting a European fighter, or China or Japanese or anything. You're known in the Olympics. Honest with you, I'm be totally honest with you, and I know we got to get back to our topics. We already a few minutes in. I'd rather feel in Black than African American. Africans don't even fuck with us.
Wow.
As an American, it doesn't matter what color you are. You're an American fighting against somebody from Cameroon or Senegal, whatever. The point being is they don't categorize it when it's world competition, but when it's other shit, it needs to be categorized. So I consider myself a Black American. I don't consider myself African American. And shout out to all my niggas in Africa. Much love. But y'all don't consider us real Africans. Y'all pigs.
Okay.
Interesting.
So interesting take there. You know, Cam is actually kind of a smart guy there. I don't think a lot of people realize that, especially from his earlier days when he was strictly a rapper. But he has various perspectives, and it's kind of interesting to hear him talk about certain things from time to time. I think if you remove the Dipset Cameron out of your mind and just look at him as a person who knows stuff, yeah, he is actually interesting when you hear him talk about certain things. So, what did you make of this? You know, Cam, you know, says he'd rather classify himself as Black American than African American.
I mean, yeah, I understand his stance. So I'm more in line with his form of thinking than people that walk around calling themselves African American. So yeah, I don't care for that term myself, to be honest. And it's not for the reason that he has. Me personally, I don't care for the term. And I feel as though people need to. Now, I'm familiar of my nationalities, but I think people just need to try their best if you can. You know, claiming, you know, find some level of nationality that you do have that is within some type of record, if you can, and claim that because too often Black people, you know, I use that term Black, you know, for it's the word that everybody else
It's most recognizable, yeah.
right. So that's why I use that term, but I don't even care for that, to be honest. And so, because if you ask a white person, you know, hey, you're white, aren't you? And they'll tell you about their Irish, they're Italian, they're this, they're that, Russian. You know, they'll tell you about their, you know, nationality, their ethnicity, or whatever. They'll tell you about that. You know, so too often Black people, for various reasons, don't know those things. All right. So we just been being called a whole bunch of things, you know, a whole bunch of labels. Another thing that I don't like hearing, and I think is like, where are we? What year is this? When people be like people of color, and it'd be Black people, you know, people, you know, my people of color. And I'm like, man, like, I'm not colored. So colored, Negro, yeah, all of these terms, man. I don't dig any of them. So I'm familiar with my background, and that's what I pretty much claim. And but for those people that aren't, you know, defaulting on Black, I mean, that's fine. But I just don't think I think the term African American, what it does is not everybody, this is the last thing I'll say, not everybody that's over here that has this complexion, you know, was in the transatlantic slave trade. And there's a lot of people that have blood that's been in America for a very long time. And not all of those people are African American, so to speak. So I feel like that term is divisive in the sense of it removes the ownership of America by saying that you're from two continents versus saying that you're American. Because there is a lot of Black people that are here that have always been here. Their family has always been here, I believe. I don't think all of us are part of the transatlantic slave trade. But that's just my thoughts. What about you, sir? What are your thoughts on Cameron's take on saying that Africans don't really mess with us, and he doesn't really care for the term African American for that reason?
I like what he said because it shows that he's conscientious of the fact that there is a very clear delineation between ethnic heritage when it comes to Black people in this country and non-Black people in this country. Because if you call, and you know what's funny, as an aside, before I get into my overall point, this is what it's this type of thing and understanding this that made me stop using the word Hispanic. So like
Yeah.
I used to always refer to people who speak Spanish as Hispanic. And then I dated a girl who was Latino. And she was like, I get that you're using that word, but really it's actually incorrect. Uh, People from Spain are Hispanic. So if a person's from Spain, you call them Hispanic. Obviously, a person from Spain speaks Spanish, but there's also half the whole world who also speaks Spanish. Not everybody's from Spain. So it's actually factually incorrect to call someone Hispanic just because they speak Spanish. Right. And she helped me learn this. So she was like, the correct term to use is actually Latino or Latina, or if you want to be on that politically correct BS, Latinx. But I don't acknowledge that. I still say Latino or Latina personally. But she told me that because she had dual heritage. Her dad was Mexican and her mom was from Guatemala. So she's Mexican and Guatemala, but she was like, I'm not Hispanic, I'm not from Spain. So, it didn't offend her when I said Hispanic, but she was just like, setting the record straight, helping me out because I didn't know this. So heritage is an important thing that everyone owes it to themselves to understand their origins, is the point in me bringing up that story. And I think Cameron speaking this way, now I don't know if Cameron has done an Ancestry or a 23andMe, but whether he has or not, him speaking in this regard shows me that he is at least aware of the fact that those delineations exist. And there's a lot of people in the world, well, in this country, who don't recognize those delineations. And shouts out to you because you brought up to me, which prompted me to do some research on the origins of African American or Black and the way that these terms were put on forms and voting cards and things of that nature purely for the purposes of census designations. So it was a way to bracket people in terms of classifications so that they can loop you into certain areas of income and socioeconomic standing based upon the bubble that you filled out. But it has absolutely nothing to do with your actual heritage or your ethnic origin. Correct. So whenever you call yourself Black or African American, you're really identifying yourself as a census designation, not as a person of actual ethnic origin.
Correct.
So, shouts out to you because you helped me understand, because I didn't know that. I'd do my research so I can learn that. And shouts out to my girl. I'm not going to say her name. I'll just, I'll use her first initial. I'll just say,
right, just call her X.
I'll just say J. I'm gonna call her J because that's her first initial. But shouts out to her for that because she helped me to understand. Like she regularly be like, well, I'm Guatemalan and Mexican. I'm not Hispanic. I'm not from Spain. And I think that recognizing those things is helpful. And I hear what Cameron's saying. Like, I'm not really with African American, nor am I with Black. I'm not really with either one, because of the fact that I did some research and learned the origins of those terms. But like you, because most people resonate with the word Black and use the word Black, I use the word Black because that's just what everyone says. So it's like, okay, whatever, fuck it. Y'all say Black, so I'll say Black, whatever.
Colloquial, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, but I think everyone at some point owes it to themselves, myself included. I'm in this boat as well, full disclosure. Everyone needs to do an Ancestry, a 23andMe, whatever thing you want to use to trace your actual lineage so that you know where you come from, and so that everybody, if a person refers to you as Black or African American or whatever, or whenever it comes up contextually, regardless, whenever it comes up in passing conversation, whatever, or just so that so that you can pass this legacy to your own children. It's like, we're not that, we are actually this, whatever your origin may be. But I think everyone, especially people such as us in this country, should do that at some point. America is a giant Ellis Island. If you go over to the UK, everyone is either Nigerian, Cameroonian, Welsh, Norwegian, Polish, Irish. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Everyone is from somewhere specific. If you go down to South America, everybody is Colombian, Dominican, Guatemalan, Brazilian, Costa Rican. That's what people say. Here, it's like, hell, I'm black. I'm African American. That's not actually an origin. It's not actually a heritage. It's a census designation. So, I'm not trying to cast aspersions on anyone because you only know what you know. But shouts out to Cameron for talking like this. I'm with it. I'm not with either term, but if I'm going to be closer on either side, like you, I'm closer to his side. I'm not saying African American either. But I think the bigger point for me is, we need to trace our origins so that we can learn specifically where we come from, so that you can create some kind of family legacy and name for yourself that can be passed down instead of literally just being listless and quite literally being designed as a census classification because that's all Black and African American is at the end of the day.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say, or you can do it like Cam said, man. And if you don't have access to that or not going to do that, the ancestry stuff, or, I would recommend talking to grandma, or if you have access, or try to ask, up the ladder. They'd be having stories. So try asking some questions up the ladder. If none of that stuff works, then defaulting on American ain't wrong either. And just like how you said, man, because if I went to Canada, I'm an American.
Yeah.
If I go to Africa, I'm an American to them. And to his point, with they don't really mess with us like that. I don't know. It's up and down. But we are foreign, and they're aware of that. I mean, it's a big old ocean in between. So yeah, they're gonna do that. So yeah, the whole notion of African American, like you said, that's well said. I didn't say it like that. That is just a census thing. But if you know, then yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And so that's why I'm not walking around saying that I'm two continents. Because if you ask whatever person of another culture, they're going to tell you exactly where they come from.
Yep.
And they're not giving you two continents. And not oh yeah, I'm Australian American. I'm not saying that. I said I'm Australian. I'm Korean. Like I'm. Yeah. So yeah, I'm with Cam on that. And again, if you don't know exactly where you're from, default on American. That's not nothing to be ashamed of either.
Right.
So
yeah, they may be an American, they may be an Australian American citizen, but absolutely they are 100. They're Australian. Exactly. Citizenship and heritage are two different things. So like they can be an American citizen that's Australian, but they're Australian or they're German. It's one thing that I've always kind of envied about these people is that they are able to say they have a country of origin. Not that I think that I'm beneath them because I don't necessarily know that off the top of my head, but that's something that I think anyone should aspire to, is just having an origin. And we all have an origin. We didn't just, we were born, our lineage traces back somewhere. So I think everyone needs, that's a strong word, but everyone at some point should, do themselves a favor if you don't know this, and trace that, figure that out, because you want to be able to impart that onto future generations that have your last name for sure. Yep. Because these people who say I'm German and I'm Polish, I'm Irish, I'm Welsh, that matters. That seriously, like that matters, So, but shouts out to Cam. That was that I like that what he said.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it just kind of shows that he's a conscientious person, which I can't be mad at that at all.
Hey man, if you heard any of his bars, he was. Now I'm not. Listen, I'm whatever with Cam. I mean, I'm a fan of his, but his bars, nobody's gonna put him, in the Jay-Z category like we were just talking earlier. But if you understand what he's saying when he's saying the kooky stuff that he's saying, you have to be a thinker in order to come up with the ridiculousness that he said, and it still sounded cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's always been a sharp guy, man. But it's nice to see him behind the microphone and, like you say, saying things. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, All right, yeah, I can dig that. So shout out to
Yeah.
Cam, man.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shouts out to Cam and Mace, man. And it is what it is. Show. Good show.
yeah, good shit. Hey, can't hate.
Yeah.
Can't hate.
So Curtis Jackson is apparently going to practice abstinence because he has way too much to accomplish. He has too much work to do.
Wow.
So 50 Cent is saying that he is abstaining from sex because he doesn't have time to be distracted, according to him. So this article says 50 Cent suggests he's giving up sex in 2024. I don't have time to be distracted. 50 Cent may be responsible for one of the most sexually charged rap songs ever made, but it appears the candy shop is closed until further notice. In an Instagram post on Tuesday, which was January 9th, the G Unit mogul suggested he's giving up sex by saying he's practicing abstinence this year to focus on achieving his goals. He wrote, "My new idea is so big, I don't have time to be distracted. I'm practicing abstinence. I have been meditating and focusing on my goals. I hope this new year helps you excel to the next level." And so you can check out his Instagram and see the post for yourself. Despite the announcement, 50 Cent is currently in a relationship with Jamira Cuban Link Haynes, a model and fitness entrepreneur. Blah, 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 blah. So if you are to believe or take Curtis at his word, 2024, he is abstaining from sexual activity to focus on achieving his goals. What do you make of that?
I think that he's exaggerating. I don't think he's gonna abstain. But I understand his point, and I feel like his point here is that, look, now I've had points on my, and I'm telling you, because I'm speaking from his perspective, but his perspective is mine, man. But he can look back and points of his life and go, "This is when I was very productive. This is when I wasn't. This is when I was very productive. This is when I wasn't." I'm pretty sure it might have been recently, maybe this last year or so. Who knows? But it had to have been for him to come out his mouth like this. So he might have recently been in a situation, maybe with this Cuban link person, where she's demanding too much from him. You know, they got to do this, they got to do that. Hey, well, whoop-de-whoop. And he's a working man. And if he's got, 10 shows on Stars and albums and touring and writing books, and, it's a busy man. And so he likes to grind. He likes to put stuff out there. And he might feel like he's been slowed down just by trying to be in the mix. So I think this is him just saying that, you know what, I'm going to fall back for me. Might as well call it abstaining because I got to focus on what's important. And I think overall, I think it's still a strong message to men out there that, well, don't have the financial accomplishments that 50 has had. And they're, neck deep, all right, and some coup de cat somewhere else instead of paying attention and grinding. So I think it's a good wake-up call to his followers, anybody that's paying attention, that, hey, man, put the passion, put the drive, put the goals ahead of, vagina, in a sense. And so by him saying that, I think it's a stern message. Now, will he actually abstain? I mean, come on. But but he might taper it back. So what are your thoughts on Sir 50 claiming that he's going to abstain from penetrations for the 2024?
Yeah, I don't believe him. I don't believe him. I don't think that he's going to abstain. If you're in a relationship, why the need for abstinence? I don't get it. Like, I can understand if you was in the streets and you
Right.
say, okay, I need to abstain, but he's in a public relationship with this Cuban link person. So that I don't understand why you would say that. But you know, the spirit of the message is appreciated, and I'm going to align with what you said. Uh, I have never found myself more disappointed in a man than when I have come to the realization that said man is a slave to vagina. We've met guys like this personally many times. We know a few of them personally. It's very upsetting and disappointing to see a man who claims to have morals and principles and integrity, but is willing to compromise any of those the very moment that compromising those things will get him a little piece of vagina. And that's sad and unfortunate. Number one, it exacerbates the power dynamic that is currently out of whack between men and women. Number one, but number two, and most importantly, I think that it's important for all humans, but more specifically men, to live a principled existence. And when you're a slave to vagina, it's very hard to do that because you will compromise your principles for women. And I choose to interpret 50's post in that manner. So like the best way to achieve your goals in life is to be focused. And it's hard to be focused when you're preoccupied with women. Women are the best, most effective way to steer you off the beaten path. And I'm not blaming women or trying to, denigrate women. I think women are great, wonderful, beautiful. I love women. You love women. We all love women. I think they're great. But there's a difference between appreciating them and being able to incorporate them into your life in a measured, responsible way, and being an all-out slave to vagina. And when you are an all-out slave to vagina, you will achieve nothing. Because the minute that you take 2 steps forward, here comes some chick that you think that you can smash, and now you take 5 steps back. Because maybe you meant to fill out this certification document and you didn't because you went over to some chick's house to smash. Or maybe you were supposed to meet with somebody who had a potential opportunity for you and you reneged on the meeting because you had the opportunity to smash some chick. Or maybe you were supposed to do some kind of business and it fell through, didn't happen because you were preoccupied with allowing a woman to occupy that bandwidth of your time. And so maybe 50 is going to the extreme by saying he's practicing abstinence for the entire year. I don't think that he's doing that. But I also think that the spirit of what he's saying is applicable specifically to men because nothing derails a man faster, quicker, more effectively than women, than the pursuit of vagina. And again, understand what I'm saying here. I'm not saying abstain from women because I'm not going to abstain from women, but you have to be able to measure and balance the time that you allocate towards the pursuit of women and the time that you give to yourself. And when that balance is out of whack because you are too preoccupied with women, when your decision making is too based on your pursuit of women, you're going to end up 40 still living at home in your parents' house because you can't progress anywhere. And like I've seen it far too often. Like it really is sad. An addiction to vagina is horrible. Sometimes I think that being addicted to vagina is worse than like being addicted to like cocaine or heroin. Sometimes I don't know which one is worse. Like I at least sometimes I put them on the same level, depending on the guy and his mental makeup when it comes to women. But yeah, nothing steers you off the beaten path faster and more effectively than women when it comes to men. I've seen these dudes out here, they won't go get a job unless there's if you tell a guy getting a job will help get him out of his mom's house, will he be motivated? Who knows? But if you tell him getting a job means that he'll be able to get some chicks, he'll go get a job. I've seen it. I've seen a guy, it's like, if you go back to school and you get this degree in this thing or whatever, or if you go get this certification, you know, you go get a real estate license or go get a welding certification or whatever. He ain't motivated. But if you tell him it's going to be bitches in the class, he'll be right there front and center. And that to me is sad. That's sad. That's sad. And so I think that more guys need to be principled and understand how to not be slaves to vagina. And that's what I kind of extrapolate from what 50 said there. So abstinence, maybe that's a bit extreme, but definitely understanding how to measure how much bandwidth you allocate to women is what you should take away from that.
Yeah, and well said, by the way. And and my thing is, when we just say like vagina, you know, what are you doing, you know, vagina. So it's like, well, and being a slave to it, you know, in that context. And you know, you gave some good examples. And so, but my thing is, you know, for the people that out there still may be a little confused, is a thing of, for the women. They go, what do you guys, you know, y'all were just talking about Glorilla hating on me. Y'all just hating. No, I'm not hating on women. The thing is, when a man is with a woman, and women, y'all can vouch for this. You correct me if I'm wrong. But if you're with a guy and he had morals and principles before you met him, he was doing all these things, had all these schedules, had all this stuff going on, and he's making things happen. That's what attracted you to him in the first place.
Yeah.
So then once you get with the dude, then all of a sudden he's not going to those meetings anymore. He's not doing whatever anymore. You know, he's just around you. Hey, why aren't you out there, you know, whoop-de-whooping, you know, making it happen like you were, you know, immediately you get turned off. So the point that we're trying to emphasize is for men to be those men that we were when you met us. Because that guy's not going, oh yeah, he's still charming, he's still charismatic, he still goes out there and get it, he's still out there. Well, I want him to be here, I miss him, but he's still out there doing it, he's still out there. Yeah. But if he all up under you and he's not making those plays, where is his life going to go? And are you still going to be attracted to him? So 50 being in this position, you know, like you said, he's giving out a message basically. And yeah, I'm on board with the message of, hey, get your priorities in order and put your goals over chasing a meal. Because as soon as it's over, you got to get back to life. You can't just sit around and do, you know, whatever. But you know, some guys they need that message. Mm-hmm, so yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't think 50's not gonna be eating. All right, he's gonna have his food. All right, yeah. But some cats out here, you know, need to skip a meal.
Yeah,
and sure. I think that's what that message was about.
Yeah, I hear that. Shouts out to 50, man. Not the biggest fan of his entertainment endeavors. I mean, I think we can use one less TV show with black people shooting each other and selling drugs and going to prison. But at the end of the day, he does say the enlightening thing from time to time, and I think this qualifies. So
yeah, outside of his shows, he's an entertaining guy to me.
Yeah,
I don't care for those shows. Bro.
Yeah, right. Shouts out to 50, man. Good content.
Skirt.
And we could not end the week without touching on Shannon Sharp and Cat Williams' Club Shay Shay appearance on the Shannon Sharp Club Shay Shay show. At the time of this recording, the Cat Williams interview on Shannon Sharp's channel is at 38 million views on YouTube. I was watching First Take this afternoon. Stephen A. Smith says it'll eventually hit 50 million. I'm inclined to agree. I think it will hit 50 million. It's only been 6 days since it's taken place, and it's at 38 million. Shannon Sharp claims that his subscribership has rose by 500,000, which is just wild. But there's a lot of ensuing comments. Yeah, right. There's a lot of There's a lot of this. Shouts out to ourselves, by the way,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. But yeah, so there's a lot of ensuing conversations coming out of the aftermath of that interview. One of the things that Shannon Sharp has gone on the defensive over is people who are criticizing his approach to the interview. They felt as though at times when Cat was being outlandish, Shannon Sharp should have stopped it or at least checked him on his outlandishness, Cat Williams' outlandishness. And so there are certain people who are disappointed that Shannon didn't do that. One of those people is Kevin Hart, for example, because Kevin Hart caught strays from Cat during this interview. And one of the people who questioned Shannon on why Shannon didn't, hit the brakes on some of the stuff that Cat was saying was Kevin Hart. But we'll go ahead and talk briefly about our takes on this situation here. This says, Shannon Sharp responds to criticism over Cat Williams' interview. You're not mad about I didn't cut this man off. Excuse me. Shannon Sharp has given a reason why he thinks people are upset with how he handled the viral Club Shay Shay interview with Cat Williams. On the Saturday episode of Nightcap, Sharp took some time out of his conversation with Chad Ochocinco to address all the criticism he's been receiving thanks to a sit down with the legendary comedian. People criticized Sharp for not being a true journalist and allowing Williams to control the entire interview, where he made various shocking claims about fellow comedians such as Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, and Kevin Hart. According to Sharp, people are actually mad at his interview with Williams because of how viral it went and how beneficial it is to his platform. At the time of writing, the clip has crossed the 30 million mark in views on YouTube. So like I said, it's actually at 38 million at this point. So these are some quotes from Shannon, but we'll just go ahead and play a clip from this. Hopefully Nightcap has not reached the level of Joe Budden or DJ Academics, and we won't get flagged for playing this. But if we do get flagged, the video upload for this will edit this out, and you will just be able to click on the link so that you can check this out for yourself. But here is Shannon on why he thinks people are really mad about the Cat Williams interview. I might have to refresh it. Let's see. Oh, here we go.
Let's see.
iPads, computer, whatever. 2 hours, 46 minutes, and 5 seconds. Think about that. Yeah. That's a cowboy game. 27 million people. Mm-hmm. There are some sporting events that don't get watched by 27 million. Mm-hmm. That's what you're mad about. You're not mad about I didn't cut this man off. You're not mad about that. Oh, those are your boys, and you let them talk about your boys. That's not what y'all mad about. That's not what you're mad about. Oh, you're not even a journalist. He could have got so much meat off the bone. You're not mad about that.
Right.
You're mad that 27 million people right now. My subscribers on Club Shay Shay jumped up 500,000. That's what you mad about. You mad about now all of a sudden my IG, I'm over 3 million on that. That's mad about the potential. Man, y'all know what's gonna happen now. Man, somebody might come throw a boatload, or that's what you mad about.
Yeah.
But when you was biting the apple, I never said anything negative about y'all. I gave you y'all credit. I never criticized anybody because the way I look at it, Ocho, everything I saw my brother do, I said I can do it.
Right.
You know why? Because he lived in the same house I lived in. He got rained on just like I did. He had to go outside to the woods to go to the bathroom just like I did. So hell, if he went to college, why can't I? If he go to the NFL, why can't I? So if I see you guys do something, you do it. You're damn right. I believe I can do it.
Yeah.
Hell no. Oh man.
Good stuff. So Shannon Sharp believes that the backlash that he's been getting in response to the Cat Williams interview is not about the interview itself, but is about the potential that Cat Williams's media presence is going to be able to take off in the aftermath of this, and people are threatened by that. That's what I read into Shannon's comments. So I'll go ahead and start this one off. I agree with him. I agree with him on that because, you know, if I'm going to go galaxy brain for a second, if you look at the way the economy is going and how the wealth gap in this country continues to widen due to the current zeitgeist, which is comprehension of technology. And basically your ability to be successful in this economy largely is dictated upon what side of that, you know, zeitgeist you're on. Are you on the side of understanding these technologies and figuring out a way to be able to leverage them to make money? Or are you on the side of, I can't figure that out, I can't understand it, and so therefore you're just going to kind of be over here on the side where you just kind of get left behind? This is causing the haves and have-nots to be discernibly distinguished. And I think in lieu of that, what we are seeing is a lot of people who are just abjectly miserable and upset with the trajectory of their lives, not really happy with where things are going. They're not happy with their own jobs, their own careers. They're not happy with their own income, their own net worth. They're not happy with the house they live in. They're not happy with their spouse. They're not happy with the kind of car they drive. They're just generally dissatisfied with a lot of things. And so when these people see someone else being successful, I think a knee-jerk reaction is for people to kind of hate on it and to be upset about it and to feel threatened by the potential for success that thing can pose. And like, if you're somebody who's been a journalist for a long time, or if you've hosted your own radio show or your own podcast or your own TV show for 20 years, and you've been here with it, right? And then you see somebody like Shannon Sharpe, who's barely been doing this for a couple of years, do one interview, and all of a sudden the potential for his platform far exceeds anything that you've been able to do for 20 years. I think despite how good or bad you think the content is, because you feel threatened by that, your initial reaction is going to be to criticize it in some kind of way. Because the actual critique that people are throwing at Shannon Sharpe, now that obviously does not have anything to do with Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's uber successful, but other people in the podcast, media, internet, journalism space who aren't Kevin Hart, who are throwing shade at Shannon, that's who that pertains to. I think Kevin Hart has a genuine beef, because I don't think Kevin Hart is threatened by Shannon Sharpe. Kevin Hart has more money and is more successful than Shannon Sharpe. So I don't think Kevin Hart has a reason to feel threatened by Club Shay Shay or Shannon Sharpe. But for the rest of the people out there who have a problem with it, it pertains to them. And that's where I think it comes from. I think they feel threatened by that. I think people's natural reaction is to feel threatened by success, especially when that success is coming from someone who they perceive to have not put in as much work or time as them. And Shannon Sharpe's been doing this podcast thing not for very long. In the grand scheme of this, he's been doing this for what, a couple years, maybe? Not that long. Club Shay Shay ain't been around for that long. And so if you've been doing this for 5-10 years, this guy does one interview, has 40 million views on one interview. Yeah, I guess you can feel a little threatened by that, but you know, that's on you for not leveraging your platform to the extent that he has. I think that that's a testament to Shannon's ingenuity, and it's a testament to Shannon's ingenuity, and it's an indictment on your lack thereof. But people just kind of have that kind of a natural reaction, and you always know how nonsensical someone is when you kind of look at the merit of the criticism. People have a problem with the fact that Shannon wasn't cutting Cat Williams off or not being more journalistic in his approach to the interview. Okay, you can say that, but at the end of the day, Shannon also didn't do that to the people who made the initial comments that Cat wanted to go at.
Exactly.
It's all the same.
Exactly.
So why do you have a problem with it when it's Cat, but you don't have a problem when it's those other guys?
Correct.
when Cedric was on Club Shay Shay, when Steve Harvey was on Club Shay Shay, when Ricky Smiley was on Club Shay Shay, Shannon let him talk. He didn't cut him off. He didn't do any kind of journalistic approach to the interview. It was the same approach. So if it was the same approach, what's your real problem? And that's why I agree with Shannon that it's something ulterior. It ain't about the journalistic approach or lack thereof. It's something else that they feel threatened by, because Shannon Sharp's interview style is the same throughout. No matter who's on the platform, he's doing the same thing. So
Right.
what are you really mad about? You know? So I can go on a little more about the actual interview itself, but that's initially how I feel about that. I agree with him. I think people who are mad because of the way that the interview with are really mad about something else, but they're trying to redirect it. You know how I feel about these redirects. They're trying to redirect it to make about a lack of journalism, and it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, they were also lumping in, the internet streets, also lumping in Steven Jackson into this because Steven Jackson was like, oh, that's supposed to be your boys, and you just let him just talk like this. We don't do that on our show. And so that's why part of what Shannon was also saying was like, hey, look, man, y'all just mad. Like, y'all just mad because we at 27 million as we speak.
Yeah.
That's why you upset. And I also seen some stuff in the comment section where people was basically saying like, and this is just for Steven Jackson. I'll get to Shannon, but just even for Steven Jackson, it's a thing where he doesn't really do any interviewing. He's not a journalist either. Now he wasn't a journalistic integrity person, but he was one of the people talking about some, oh, that's your boy, you supposed to be holding them down. Yeah,
right.
Stuff. Now, all this journalistic integrity stuff, what do you expect? Who has any? And we talked about journalism before when we was talking about the Jamel Hill thing. Like, who's really doing journalism anymore? Like, journalism. Now, it's happening, and it's on YouTube. There's some people out here that's doing real journalism. They're asking real people some real hard-hitting questions. And I'm asking Cat Williams. They're not asking Cat Williams, what's your thoughts on toxic people? This is, there's some real journalism going on by real journalists, but people aren't looking at that. That ain't getting 27 million views in 2 days, or whatever. So this is strictly entertainment. As he mentioned, he's an entertainer. So for anybody that's coming at him about journalistic integrity, they sound either salty or their name or their people's names was caught in the mix of all of these rumors now. And so because one thing that Cat did do, and you mentioned this before we was recording, I was thinking the same thing, but how there's a large group of people out there that don't trust things.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't like what's going on. Hey, man, I got my full hat sitting under the table. All right. So there's a lot of people that grew up listening to these things, watching these videos, but not speaking on it, because, people going to judge them. But they be watching these videos. And Cat Williams, for whatever reasons, after watching his interview and hearing about his childhood and how things came about, that explained a lot to me.
Yeah.
I started piecing stuff together, psychoanalyzing, and I was like, it's starting to add up now.
Right. One can only imagine what them homeless people that he was hanging with, that he was living around when he was, being a nomad. Ain't no telling the kind of stuff that he was talking about with those people.
Yeah, what he was talking about, what he was seeing, all this other stuff. And or as far as I spoke about earlier about people who grew up without seeing examples, and there was some critical years in his life where he was by himself and he's learning from homeless people and prostitutes and this and this and that, and he's just out here. Mm-hmm. And so with that, I don't know what kind of street stuff he got himself into where security wasn't, he's not secure. He's not. So this guy is about exposing. That also explains why he adopted so many kids in my book. So he's adopting kids. He's doing this. He's helping people out because he sees himself as that little person that was out there in the world who needed help. And so now that he's in a position where he can help people and expose bad people that's doing all this crazy stuff, he's using his platform to do all of that, in my book. So he saw this as an opportunity, and others, to say what he has to say in order to, and I think there's a lot of that has to do with his upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
So him going off, there's a large group of people, on the interwebs that want to hear what's going on the other side, because they know there's some power bottom stuff going on. We just don't know the players. And so Cat Williams is giving you names of players. So the internet is eating it up.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that the outside of him being so explosive and just being Cat, and honestly just funny, I was laughing through a lot of it. And because if you know Cat, it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I think it was just good stuff. I think it was good stuff. And Shannon provided basically a sandbox for Cat Williams to do a special, basically.
Yeah.
And he did that on his channel. What, you mad? So hey, I think it was great for the internet. It's great for people. It opens this thing, whether people agree with him or not. It's opening the door for conversations to be had.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, if you don't believe that, then what do you think's going on? Or what do you know? And this, I feel like the conversations that are being had after this are impactful. So whether people believe what he says is true or not, I mean, a lot of the stuff I felt like was 50-50, but still, because a lot of it's like, can you prove it? I can't prove that. So it's just like, all right. But for the most part, I still feel as though it was a strong. That's why so many people watched it. So yeah, man, it was cool.
Yeah, no shade at Shannon in any way. Yeah. I have nothing to say. I'm gonna defend Shannon on this. I usually defend Shannon except when it comes to LeBron. I usually defend Shannon because he's right. People are abjectly miserable, and they are going to attack things that they are threatened by. Yeah. And people are threatened by success, and people are especially threatened by success when they perceive the beneficiary of that success to be someone who hasn't put in the same amount of work as they did. So if you think this person is becoming more successful than you, but you've worked harder than them, or you're really going to feel some type of way about that. And really, like I said, that is more of an indictment. That's more of an indictment on your inability to tap into whatever Shannon was able to tap into. And it's more of an example of how Shannon is able to kind of do this media thing. And maybe he just does it better than you. Instead of getting mad at him, why don't you just call him up and ask him to be on your show, or ask for some sort of collaborative effort, as opposed to the criticism. Because you mentioned Steven Jackson, and I'm not trying to cast aspersions on the Up in Smoke show, but at this point in time, I will watch a Club Shay Shay episode before I watch Up in Smoke.
Agreed.
I will. Agreed. So it's like, at the end of the day, if his show is better than yours, you can chin check him all you want, but at the end of the day, what he's doing is better. Figure out a way to make your stuff better. Get off of this tough guy stuff. No one cares about that. No one cares.
So full circle, the tough guy stuff, the tough guy stuff that you're shunning, that's the only people that like that stuff is a small group of people. This is the Glorilla thing. This is a small group. This is a niche group of people, and they're a little weird.
Yeah.
But that's not the masses of people. Will you watch an episode of a Smoke show? Yeah, you'll watch an episode, but you're not a subscribe. You know what I'm saying? And those people, that's a niche group of people. Shannon attracts more people because of his spirit of how he comes across. It's more welcoming. He's not trying to be hard or cool. He's just chilling.
Yeah.
And besides when you're talking about LeBron. And so, so that's a more welcoming spirit. You're going to attract a lot more with that than nuance trying to be tough.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, agreed 1000. I feel like, yeah, he said, like you said, he did the same thing with Harvey, with this,
Mhm.
with that, an entertainer. All right, you just mad at the view count because you ain't saying nothing back then. Now you want to
Right.
critique how I do things on the third year or whatever I'm doing this? Kick
Right.
rock. And
Right.
yeah,
Yep.
man, watch them check roll in on 500K subs.
Yeah.
Hey, now if you watching this, what are you waiting for? It costs you nothing. You know, like and subscribe over here too, man.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with Shannon, man. I am with Shannon. So shouts out to Shannon Sharp. Don't flag us. Please don't flag us, YouTube.
Come
Let us
on,
keep that
Shay
clip.
Shay. Come
Yeah,
on,
let us
man.
keep that clip.
Call us out. Hey, real quick. So you often agree with what he said about Jameis Winston? Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
We'll
No.
talk about
What
that
is it?
later.
Oh, you talking about when he went rogue and they scored the touchdown?
Yeah, and then
Talking about he
Shannon.
would cut him.
Yeah, you
That
agree
he
with
would
that?
cut him. Shannon is old school.
Yeah.
I honestly, it depends if because isn't Jameis the backup? Because Carr's the starter.
Right.
So
But
Jameis
he's
is the
saying the reason
backup.
that he's the backup is because he'll do something rogue.
Nah, he's the backup because they think Carr is better. I don't want to hear that. I don't believe that. He's the backup because they think Carr is better. I probably wouldn't cut him because that's the first time he's ever done anything like that. Like Jameis has just been high interception turnover guy. He's never been disrespect the coach guy. So to me, that's an indication that the players don't respect the coach. So I'm probably looking at the coach before I'm looking at Jameis Winston because that guy looks like the type of guy who players are likely to not respect. So it doesn't have to be Jameis. It could be someone else. And maybe that other person won't disobey the director to go in there and do victory formation and take the knee, but they may still not respect the coach. And so at the end of the day, you do not want a locker room full of dudes who do not respect the guy in charge. Agreed. So I'm looking at the coach before I look at Jameis. My FSU, I can't see myself cutting Jameis.
Your whole argument just went in the trash.
I know. I just killed it. I just killed myself on that. But no, all jokes aside, disregarding the FSU part, I would look at the coach first before I looked at the player because, okay, you can get rid of Jameis, but like I said, the next player may not do that. But if the coach is someone who doesn't garner respect from the players, you'll still have a dysfunctional situation because the players don't respect them. So I'm looking at the coach.
Agree. I felt like he was a little too harsh on that take. I felt like it was a little extreme. But as you mentioned, that was a real old school take.
Yeah.
You know?
When it comes to football, Shannon leans old school for sure.
Yeah.
Shannon is definitely get off my lawn, old school, run the football. When it comes to football, Shannon is on that old school stuff for real.
No water breaks type.
Yeah, right. But shouts out to Shannon Sharp. Shouts out to Club Shay Shay. Shouts out to the Nightcap Show with Chad Johnson. I like what Shannon Sharp is doing. I appreciate his presence in the media game. Not everyone has to be a journalist or someone who doesn't do things the way you think they should be done because they're becoming better than you at what you've been doing for longer. So I think you should look yourself in the mirror if you're somebody who's mad at that Cat Williams interview.
Just saying.
Yeah, but we'll go ahead and close it out. This was an excellent stream. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Shouts out to the boy McCall who chimed in on the chat. Appreciate it as always. Shouts out to everybody who has joined us along for the ride. And if you happen to be checking out this for the first time, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man. Hit that like button. We love and appreciate everybody who has subscribed to the channel. As you join us along for this ride, as we continue to kick that logical content, we will hit our first goal of 1,000 subscribers, strictly organic, no money behind it. We are doing this all off the muscle, and you gotta commend that. My name is JV Wins. That is Dogon SS. Check me out on Instagram at JV Wins, JVWINS. Check out Conscious Approach on Instagram at Con Approach, CONAPPROACH. If you're watching this video on Facebook, follow the page. like the page, leave a comment wherever you see this video. Let us know what you think. Let us know where you think we went right, wrong. We don't care. We are not here to run a cult. So please disagree with us because we don't give a damn. Otherwise, we will catch you on the flip side. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, skr. And the name is Dogon SS. You can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS and on YouTube at Dogon_SS. Yeah, I think it's underscore. Hey, you can also find me on TikToks as well. All right. Now I don't post no videos or anything. All right. Yeah. All right, but I be dropping them comments and they be going hammer. All right, Dogon_SS over there as well too. So as I say on every part, guys, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it clear, and don't let anybody get you off your pivot. So until the next time, everybody, we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
That's right. That is right. That is right. We are signing off. Shouts out to the Heat. Shouts out to Coach Spo. Beat the Rockets last night. I'm praying for my Dolphins this week when we go to Kansas City. Hopefully we'll ink that one out with a win, but go Heat, go Dolphins. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Conscious Approach community, thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next video. We are out. Peace.
Go Kane. Yeah.